Hello folks, welcome back. InfoSec Gurung here, and in the previous introductory video I told you about the prerequisites, the requirements and all. Fine. And do note that to add the concept of pointers as well for C basics, or as one of the topics for prerequisites in C. Fine. Now you can use any existing text editor you have in your operating system, which can be VI or Emacs, Vim, Mousepad, LeafPad, Atom, anything, fine, or even Sublime. Yeah, Sublime Text. Okay, so we'll start with step 1, and we need to create a new file named kilo.c, and it will have our main function. Fine. Now, as you know, that main function is our is the function where from which our program starts and our program ends. Fine. And since we are writing int main, so here int is our return type, and here we return 0. So 0 is an integer, and generally 0 indicates success. That means um, whatever code was there between your starting to ending brackets, right? And if that all runs successfully, then then our main returns 0. Fine. Now we can add return 1, return -1, return 100, anything, but generally we put 0 as to indicate success. Fine. So we'll create it, and okay, so one more thing is that if you are not copy pasting, then you will understand in a better manner, I think, because copy pasting code can result you in neglecting certain areas of your code in which you won't be able to understand, or maybe even if you don't understand, at least when you type it by hand, uh, I feel it you're more likely to um, feel the code, something like that. I hope you get me. Fine. And yeah, so we have int main, and tab return 0. Fine. Now we have saved it, and here you can see it is there. Now okay, so this is theory, and C is a compiled language, and we need a compiler, C compiler, to turn it into an executable file, and we run that executable file like any other program on the command line. Fine. To compile kilo.c, run cc kilo, and yep, cool. So it's cc kilo.c -o and kilo. Fine. So what this says is, this is a compiler. It says compiler, please compile kilo.c and put the output to a file named kilo. Okay, so that has happened, and here we have kilo and kilo.c. So you can see that kilo is our executable. Fine. And nothing happens because we haven't put any statements which will print any output, like printf hello world. Fine. So if the program doesn't print any output which is true, and we can check its exit status, the value main returns by running echo $sign and question mark, which would print 0. Let's just check it out. Yep, it prints 0. Now let's suppose this be 10. So okay, kilo.cc kilo, and we can check the exit status. See, it's 10. That means our program is running fine. And yeah, okay, so in place of this we can also have gcc, which is what I prefer. Okay, and it works the same. Fine. And yeah, So in my notes I have that what does echo dollar sign and question mark do, right? So by convention, an exit status of 0 means success and non-zero return status means failure. I think fine. And okay, and true will always return a status of 0 and false will return status 1. Fine. And this is a reference to Stack Overflow. Okay, just a minute. Okay, what does this means in shell programming? This is the exit status of the last command executed. For example, it will return a status value, a status of 0, and false always returns yeah, cool. This is fine. So we can also have it like true and then 0 and false and 1, right? So this matches, and you can also go and read ahead. Fine. Cool. So we've done step 1. So now we come to step 2, and here we get the introduction of make files and the program make. So what happens is that in order to compile our kilo, we need to run this command each and every time. So either what you can do is press the arrow button up and then find it, then press it, or else if you keep typing something like kilo.c and then we get back, and then let's suppose you open up something else like ls and clear, so we need to press the up arrow and then only find it. Okay, so better than that is that we can use the program make and our make file. So what will happen is that if we type in make, then it will automatically compile kilo for us by having specific targets, right? And let's make the let's create the make file now. Vim make file kilo.c. okay, so after this I press enter, and then this what you see right now is a tab space. Fine. So I go back and then I press tab and then I start writing, because make is white space sensitive program. Fine. So this is cc, then we have kilo.c minus o kilo minus wall minus wext. Okay. std is equal to c99. Okay, so let's just read what happens. The first line says that kilo is what we want to build, okay, this one, and that kilo.c is what what's required to build. So like it's like a dependency. Fine. Now the second line specifies the command to run, so this is what will run. Now we need to make sure to indent the second line with an actual tab character, right? And make files must use tabs because our program make is as I said before, it is white space sensitive. Now we have added a few things to the compilation command. This is a variable that make expands to cc by default, okay, and minus wall means all warnings. Now we can also read this in our step 2. Fine. So cc is an implicit declaration of variable where cc is equal to gcc, more variables on GNU side, and we can just go there and see. Fine. So here you can see that for compiling C programs, default cc. Fine. And minus WEXTRA gives more warnings. Fine. Then pedantic is a flag which makes the code follow the ANSI way of writing code, which is ANSI, and it is the standard of writing C code. Fine. Now you can go and read the purpose and of using in this. Fine. So these are like notes which I created. Okay, so like you can go and read here more about this flag. And also I would like to say that okay, one last thing is that std is equal to C99 specifies the exact version of C standard which we are using. So standard is C99 standard. Okay, now the other thing which I wanted to say is that CC is same as a GCC. Fine. So it almost always points to GCC, which is GNU's GCC compiler. So you can check out these notes as well. Fine. Now we have that. I'll save this, and I wanted to show you like which GCC and which CC. Fine. So here you can see that both of them are different for me, but I think they are linked. Not sure. Okay, and okay, so let's just check out if this works here or not. Okay, and yep, it wouldn't work because this is actually make files implicit variable. Fine. So CC wouldn't work here, and what I do is I add GCC, which is GNU's C compiler, and I think CC and GCC are both the same. Fine. So this is how we do it with GCC. I just wanted to add, and now we write make kilo, and here it will say that kilo is up to date. That means we don't need to compile because we have not made any change to kilo.c. Fine. So let me make a change to kilo.c. Okay, we can just remove this, and I'll save, then have make kilo. Fine. So now this has compiled for us, and we can see this. Yeah, so this has run successfully. Okay, now another thing is that I would like to here. Okay, now the other thing is that I would like to edit the makefile, and I'll tell you how I will do it, but let's read this forward. Now it may output kilo, make kilo is up to date. Let's just try it, that make kilo, and yeah, it showed to us that kilo is up to date, which means that it can see it can tell the current version of kilo.c has been already compiled by looking at each file's last modified timestamp. Fine. And now okay, if kilo was last modified after kilo.c was last modified after kilo was, then make recompiles kilo.c. Cool. Okay, so try changing the return value in kilo.c other than 0, and we just did that. And okay, so I want to change my makefile, and I'll do that by using cc is equal to gcc, and c flags is equal to minus wall minus wextra pedantic and minus stt is equal to C99. Okay, so I'll tell you what this is. So this is my variable, cc is my variable, and the value of cc is gcc, and c flags is another variable. It just means that the flags which I want to use with the C compiler while compiling my kilo.c. Fine. So all I want to use is a wall, all these which were already here. Fine. Now what I can do is I can remove these and instead add it here um, in the form of this C flags. Fine. Now we can add it anywhere, but we should keep this as a group. Fine. And what I generally do is I'd like to keep it here, like after GCC. Fine. And if you've used bash, if you've ever done scripting in bash, then you'll get to know that this actually is an implicit form of declaration of the variables. Fine. And yeah, so this is my make file now, and I'll just show it, make kilo. Okay, now another thing is that now if we just type in make, then our make program will run the first command, first file which has to be built, right? That is our kilo. So we can just write execute make, and that will just mean make kilo. Fine. Okay, now that we have done this, let's move to step 3.